On the Wake Up Radio presents The Center with your host, DC Radical One.
Greetings, friends, family, allies, and enemies. I am your host, DC Radical One. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. Yeah, you can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio at Wake Up Radio. You can also check us out at otwtube.com. That's otwtube.com, which is a free speech platform. Also, if you are interested in doing some streaming yourself, we have the discount link directly from StreamYard. If you use the link that's in the chat to purchase StreamYard, you get a discount and I get a discount. So let me see who's in the building right now. BB4ODA2, brother, you got ripped off. BB4ODA, Straight Black Pride System, Fonessa, Peace of Black Power, the Black Family, Black Revolutionary Now, excuse me. Let's see. Mel Selector, D1. And let's see who else we got down here. We got Peace of Brother Dawood. I saw some other people, but I guess I don't know if they dropped off or what. Not sure. So anyway, I was supposed to do this yesterday. Had something come up, so you all have my apologies. So we are going to talk about this movie tonight. Now, first things first, let me ask, if you have seen the movie, put a 1 in the chat if you've seen it already, because this is going to be a spoiler field review. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about stuff that's going to be spoilers. Also, tomorrow night, we are going to talk about, we're scheduled to talk about Brother Ibrahim Traore, the April 30th movement, and whether or not that could be something. Is that a moment or a movement? It was so funny because I actually had that show planned already. Then I talked to a sister, this morning, and she basically had the same question. So I don't know if she actually catch the show, but she was thinking the same thing. So that's tomorrow. It's possible I may do a SBL talk this week, because there is some things in regards to that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll put them around the Shannon Sharp thing, because people are talking about that, but it'll have to do with some of the themes that have been brought up with that. But yeah, that's a possibility. I'm not gonna promise that one. So anyway, first question you're probably asking is, why BB4ODA to Sister Simone? First question you're probably asking is, well, brother, why did it take so long to discuss this movie? Well, one, I hadn't seen it. Two, I did see it actually a few days ago. But I hate this new thing on the internet where people go see the movie the night before. Like the opening day for movies is generally Friday, and then people will go Thursday night. And peace and blessings to Brother Crow. And then they'll come on and then they'll tell you the whole movie Like you haven't even, the weekend hasn't even started, and they tell you the whole movie or whatever. So I personally hate that. I don't know if other people are used to it. I want to see the movie for myself. So that's why I was like, well, I give it a couple of weeks and see what people say and see if it's worth, looking at. So all the reviews I've heard, most of the reviews I've heard are positive. Everyone has their favorite scenes. A lot of people's favorite scenes centers around music. If you know me and you've seen the movie, that's not my favorite scene. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, was that scene fantastic? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Great scene. But my favorite scene is more toward the end of the movie. And so, but I will give credit to Ryan Coogler. He's a phenomenal director. Really a visionary brother. He really tapped into authentic African American culture. Do I have problems with the film? Of course I do. Y'all know me. So we'll get into all of that. And I want this to be somewhat interactive. So if you've seen it and you want to just put in the chat the things you liked, or if you haven't seen it but you want to like you got questions, like somebody asked me and then I didn't even see it because still getting used to Instagram, like putting something excuse me. It's plenty of that, brother. It's weird that nobody talks about that, but it's plenty of that. That's why I tell people to go see the movie. Like I tell brothers to go see the movie. Like people are like, oh, is it worth seeing? Yes. It's not. Remember, he doesn't have to adhere to Disney or nothing else. So the stuff that you didn't see in Black Panther that you thought you would see, oh, you get plenty of that here. You get plenty of that. So to me, that's reason enough to spend $12. Of course, I ain't had to take nobody. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else paid for my ticket. So I don't, some people you gotta take, your lady and your two kids, so forth, so on. So one thing I will say, this is not a movie for children. It's very much an R-rated movie. Not well, it is graphic. It is graphic because it is a horror movie, but it's not a movie for children. I'll say that there. It's very much an adult movie, which I can appreciate in the sense that even though, how can I put it? Like there were multiple love scenes and they were a little egregious, but at the same time, actually seeing Black people interacting, and Black men and Black women, and of course a allegedly mixed person as well. But since you never see it anymore, I guess I was cool. I was kind of caught off guard by how some of the things happen. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Some of it's just like just straight to the point, and so I was kind of caught off guard because, to be honest, I remember reading an article, and the article was talking about how you don't actually see interaction between men and women in movies anymore. And when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I watched a lot of Marvel movies and love scenes there, and watch some other movies, some action movies and stuff. And there was a time when I was coming up, the action hero would get the girl. Like your reward for doing all that head chopping, or like, or whatever, blowing up something, whatever. Unless you were Rambo and you out in the middle of the wilderness and wasn't no women, but other than that, getting the girl was part of it. Like I don't know if anybody old enough to remember the movie Action Jackson with I can't think of the brother's name. He just recently passed. Carl Weathers. Yeah, Carl Weathers. That's one of the old school Black action movies with it didn't do that well. It didn't become a franchise or nothing. But yeah, man, Action Jackson back in the day cracked some heads, and he got to walk away with vanity at the end of the movie. So yeah, so I mean, you don't get to see that anymore. You get more alternative love scenes in movies now than you get with men and women. So seeing that was kind of shocking, but it's kind of like, but at least people get to see men and women interacting naturally. So I did put together just a little small slide thing, just so I can give you all some visuals. And I anticipated questions, so people would, question one: was the movie entertaining? Yes. Like I said, I give props to Ryan Coogler. The visuals, the cinematography, the writing, the acting from everybody. The acting was phenomenal from everybody. Like, I'm just trying to think, was there any poor performances? Like, Delroy Lindo was excellent. I've been watching him since he was in Malcolm X. Michael B. Jordan, if he doesn't get nominated for what is it, Oscar? If he doesn't get nominated for Oscar, there ain't no need to have a show. I'm trying to think, because he played two characters and he played them well. The sister, I can't think of her name, but she played Annie, the love interest for Smoke. I think the love interest for Smoke. She was excellent. She played a hoodoo woman, so that was excellent, showing, and she was a key to the film. So her knowledge and everything of African spirituality was key. So African spirituality was shown positively. There's another sister, I don't really know her name, but I have seen her in movies before. Even though the role she played was kind of degenerate, now that I think about it, but she did well in the role. Very, very, very attractive sister. But I don't know the actress's name, and I can't even remember. Yeah, her character's name was Pearline. I couldn't even remember. You say, was this movie better than Black Panther? You know what? I hadn't even thought of that, brother. Real true. I'm gonna put that question up real quick. I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mentioned that, let me sit back and think. I don't think it was. I think they're on par with each other. There were some scenes. I think Black Panther is probably more visually stunning, but it's also more of a fantasy movie. So the visuals that may probably be the reason, because you got the CGI and the things like that. This was, even though this is a fantasy too, was a horror movie. So, but I think it's really hard because they're so different, even though they come from the same director. Sinners might be a little better movie when I think about it. Sinners might be a little better movie because even though the acting was definitely solid in Black Panther, I think the acting here is better. The non-Black actors were very good. They were better than the non-Black actors in Black Panther. And I think the level, now that you're asking me, I think the quality of the acting in this film carries it to a higher level than And that's not to denigrate the acting in Black Panther, because I thought the acting in Black Panther was excellent, but the acting here of the entire cast was excellent. Delroy Lindo was excellent. The sister that played Annie was excellent. Michael B. Jordan, this is probably his best performance. Well, nah, this is definitely his best performance. Easily. Yeah, because he's playing two different people. And you get to a point in the movie where you forget that it's Michael B. Jordan playing two different people, and it just looks like two people who look alike but have different personalities, different mannerisms and stuff like that. So you become immersed in that, to the point that there's a scene, because most of what's weird is most of the time at the beginning they're together and then they separate, and then there's a scene later after they get together, and when they separate at that point in the movie, it's almost like, man, where's his brother? You know what I'm saying? It's a part where it's like they need to be together. So there's some of that, and so I think overall, I think it's a little better. I don't think it's a lot better, but I think it's a little better. Now, I probably like Black Panther more than a lot of people. I never watched the sequel, so I can't speak on that. But I think definitely is I think it's better overall. So y'all see, even though this picture kind of sucks, but whatever. Because obviously can't use video because copyright. But yeah, you just get to see just in the way in this picture, their stances and the way they are. You can tell how he captures the personality of the two characters just in this picture. So that's why I put that up. So, the action, man, it's so much really that I like. It's multi-layered, and there was a lot of different themes in it. That's what I liked. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not trying not to give too much away, but I just put it like this, brother, you got ripped off. The last act, the third act, you'll enjoy. The third act is satisfying. Now the post credits, yeah, you probably ain't gonna enjoy. But the third act you'll enjoy. I like the depth of the characters. You got to see the characters' motivations. The characters were three-dimensional, which, if we're being honest, you don't always get three-dimensional characters in any movie nowadays, let alone three-dimensional Black characters. And of course, the reason I picked the blues song is because the blues is a almost like a backing character. The music is like a backing character, just like the locations are a backing character to help set them. And so it's a lot of and since y'all kind of voted for me to do both, I probably will do a separate video review as well. But there was a lot of things in there. There was things about duality, and I don't know if y'all can hear, because we have a thunderstorm, so I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. Like, we got thunder, lightning, all types of stuff happening. Weirdly enough, you know what I'm saying? Proper setting for a horror movie. But overall, man, I just enjoyed it. The more I thought about it, the more I liked it. Some of the things, like I said, things about duality, that was a major thing. We got to see religion versus spirituality, open racism versus hidden racism, secular music versus religious music, love versus lust, man, and just a lot of other dualistic themes that were in there. The music was a central theme, and I'm gonna say this: I haven't heard anybody talk about this. And I don't know if Ryan Coogler did this intentionally or not, right? Because there are multiple villains in actuality. The hidden racism versus the open racism, right? It's the South, so there's racism. And there are clans, men and women represented in the film, mostly clans, right? But the hidden racism was portrayed by Irish people. But if you listen to the motivations of the main villain, who people are trying to say is not a villain, his motivations aren't the motivations of an Irish person. Like, if you ever gotten into discussions with Irish people on racism and stuff like that, they'll tell you about how they were treated by the other Europeans, right? They'll tell you about, just the stuff they went on with them and the British, and coming over here and how they were treated and stuff like that, and being indentured servants and all that stuff, right? And some of them will even try to compare it to slavery and be like, and we went through a similar experience. Yeah, but there was never any graduation into whiteness for black people, right? There was no working for the masses of black people. There was no working your way into being a true citizen, right? So that's a difference. But they will have those discussions. And I remember, oh man, years ago, maybe 12, 15, I don't know how many years ago. I was having that discussion on Twitter, and this Irish female who actually, I'm trying to think what, it was some case that she informed me about. I'm trying to think. Actually, it was the case, I don't know if y'all remember. There was a mixed girl who, I'm trying to think, I think she killed her trafficker or something, and she was locked up. And she was, at that time, she was young. And actually, this person turned me on to that case. But anyway, she's trying to, relate the Irish story to the black story and this and that. And I'm like, slow down now. You know what I'm saying? He's back now, Selector. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, whatever y'all went through with y'all cousins is not comparable. Yeah, the Centoria Brown case, yeah, bro. It's not comparable to what we've been through, So there is, when I saw this, that's what I thought about, right? But to your point, brother, you got ripped off. When you see the movie and when you hear, there's a scene where you hear the motivations of that character and what he ultimately wants and who he ultimately wants, that's when it will hit you like, man, that ain't no Irish motivation. He's like, okay, this may be an Irish character. And I understand, I understand why he put the Irish people into it. One, because it's centered around music, and they have their own unique style of music and dance, and it visually, it gives you a visual contrast between what's happening in the juke joint and what's happening outside. So I understand the artistic take of it, but when you put the motive, and I'm not saying, I don't know if he did it consciously, subconsciously, or he didn't, like, I gotta put this part in, but I can't because I'm in Hollywood. I can't tell who this really is. So let me slip it in under these people's label, but those who know will see it, right? I don't know if it's one of those things. That's how I took it, though. When you see the motivation of that villain, and you hear him and you hear what he says, it's not no Irish motivation. We know, like, when you get to that point, if you haven't seen it, when you get to that point, or you've seen it and you think back, to what he wanted, yeah, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, he told us without telling us. I'm trying to think that the Asians were interesting. That there was an Asian family in the movie, husband and wife, and they had a child. They were interesting because I didn't know that history, but apparently there is actual history of, because I know about the Chinese people coming to the West Coast in San Francisco, California, all that area, mining for gold and setting up in those towns and all that stuff. They had a TV show on, I think it was Max, a couple of years ago, centered around that. It was pretty interesting. From my understanding, it was a concept from Bruce Lee, and then Bruce Lee, I don't know if somebody sold it or something. I don't know how people got their hands on it, but they made a movie around it. So you got to see some interesting history with that. I knew about the Chinese arriving there, but I didn't know like anything intricate about it. But here they were in the South, and I didn't know that history. Then I went and looked and saw that was actually a thing, that they actually were brought in post-slavery along with some other people, and that they were like, yeah, this, we can't do this work. this ain't what we're looking for here, right? So they end up setting up shop and basically got to and kind of play both sides of the fence, where they weren't fully trusted by the Europeans, but trusted enough to buy products from, and not fully trusted by the black people. Now, what's interesting about that part is, while that is accurate, that is also distinctive of another group of people that we talked about before that would be represented by the Irish. So each group outside of the black people and the white people embodied a part of those people who shall not be named, right? If y'all know what I'm saying. So that group, they played those two, all three of them, they played a key role in the movie. And then there is a character who is, and apparently her actual lineage, she is mixed. I'm trying to think what she said. She didn't say her father, so she said her grandfather. So she would have been, in that time, they would have referred to her as either a quadroon or octoroon. I can't really remember. Maybe an octoroon. She either would have been 1/8 or 1/4 black, and she plays a key role, right? Like there's a very much a destruction of black civilization, theme to her character's arc in the movie, right? As y'all see, I'm trying not to give it away. But those of you who are familiar with destruction of black civilization, what Dr. Chancellor Williams talks about with mixed people and who they ultimately side with and things like that. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is that's all I thought. All I thought was destruction of black civilization. And apparently the actress has some black people in her background. I remember the first time I saw her, she must be young, because she was a little girl in the movie. First movie I saw, True Grit, and I thought she was supposed to be Native American or something. I thought she was, I thought it was that type of mix. And when I saw her, I was just like, interesting, some type of mix thing happening. But I think her character was just supposed to just be regular old Euro in that movie. But whatever the case may be. So yeah, right? I don't think he intentionally did it, but he basically had a stay away from non-black women theme in that movie. I don't even think it was intentional, but when I think about it, the non-black women in the movie were all, their presence, not even intentionally, was detrimental to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And like Brother Dawood said, white and Asian women both play key roles in the downfall of the black people in the film. Yeah, that's right. You know, because I'm thinking back about the movie now, and it's not. The thing is, it wasn't even really intentional. It is what it is. Hey, bruh, that Rashida Jones thing confounds me to this day. Because I seen Key Dada, and I'm like, okay, I can see the black in her. I look at Rashida Jones, I don't know what's going on. How that's half of Quincy Jones, I don't understand. Like, I've seen Rashida Jones and stuff and forgot who she was, and she just looks like when they talk about people back in the day, like, oh, this person passed, it'd be kind of hard, but then when I see her, I'm like, never mind. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, I forget Rashida Jones is supposed to be half black every time I see her. There are two actresses like that. She's one of them. And Jennifer Beals, like, the older she's gotten, I don't see no black in her the older she's gotten. But supposed to be half black. So, I mean, yeah, Jennifer Beals, she was famous when I was a boy. And they said she was half black. I was like, even then, I was like, really? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all sure about that? So, but one thing I always forget: if you are relatively light skinned and you get with a European female or European male, yeah, you can produce some weird looking people. I've seen, thanks to Instagram, I've seen some interesting looking people. I'll just put it that way. That you just like, they're like, yeah, I'm black, or my father's black, or whatever, and you like, wow, is he like half? Cause you have almost none of our attributes. You know what I'm saying? He's like, we had to check your card before we let you come in here. So yeah, but yeah, that, like I said, very much some destruction of black civilization type of lessons there. This brother, I can't remember his name, but he played Preacher Boy, a musical prodigy, phenomenal singer, excellent guitarist. From my understanding, he was playing for real. So if he was playing for real, and I don't know how long he's been playing, I don't know if he learned just guitar for them, I don't know. But if so, I mean, that's really incredible. He brought a lot of energy to the movie and the musical scenes, which the weird part is my understanding the musical scenes were composed by European, which I was surprised, but it's one of those things when I think about it. We've left so many genres behind as black people and moved on to other things. And it gets to the point where other people pick them up and they're carrying it on more so than we're carrying it on. But somehow, of all the things we had, blues, rock, roots reggae, I mean, you just name all the stuff that we created in the Western Hemisphere: R&B, soul, funk, jazz. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fill in the blanks of anything that I'm missing. The fact that we got locked into this downward trend of increasingly degenerate hip hop. You know, it's not a coincidence because we created a bunch of stuff. Country, uh, the foundation of bluegrass and all of that come from us. So I mean, I think it was Carlos Santana, if I'm not mistaken, said there's no. He basically is like there is no music without black people. You know, and that's one of the things that they never talk about when they talk about, you know, the enslavement process. They never talk about the fact that we had instruments. People took the memory of the instruments that we had and just rebuilt them when they got here, and then things evolved out of that. So the guitars that we see in country and folk music and stuff like that, and then later blues and all that stuff comes out of what we were playing on the continent. Your brother said even classical, right? Yeah, that the whole Renaissance owes itself to the whole Moorish situation. So the classical stuff, all of that. And the funny thing about the Moorish thing is a lot of that influence that they got was stuff that they picked up in ancient Kemet. So they literally went there, found the stuff that ancestors had left, and picked up the pieces and pieced together some of that stuff and carried it into Europe as quote unquote Moorish culture. But it really always goes all the way back to ancient Kemet culture. You said, oh, when you were doing rideshare and folks would dig the funk music and talk about how they're in bands and they bring it back with electric guitar. Yeah, because we especially as far as instrumentation, we don't encourage our children to pursue those things, and it can be expensive, but at least now, last time I looked, guitars were incredibly cheap. I was shocked. Now I don't know where they're made, and I don't know if the tariffs will affect them. I don't know if I missed the boat on that. But they were like, the price has been stagnant as from what I've seen. So the prices that I saw, like for electric guitar and an amp and stuff, I was shocked at how cheap they were for something that you really can have a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I had one before. I had always thought about purchasing one, but it was just never. I never felt like I could dedicate the time to really learn it, to make it worth my while. And so it just never happened. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we don't. I think that our children are interested in music. Their only outlet becomes rap. They don't learn, whether they learn production or, want to just write raps, but they don't learn to play the drums or learn to play the bass or learn to play, guitar, whether, electric or blues guitar, rhythm guitar, they don't learn those things anymore, or saxophone, or all the things that we mastered, and made those different genres of music. In fact, now that I think about it, while I'm talking about it, I think really that's what's got us really locked into this paradigm of making this continuous negative music. I think we got back more to live instrumentation. I think it would unlock people's minds to be able to express themselves with a wider array of music. So, as I'm thinking about it, and I'm just going stream of consciousness. I really think getting our youth back into live instruments and playing together as a band and sharing creativity. I think that there's some healing in that for our people, and could definitely be part of a renaissance for us to get out of this self-hatred and this negativity. Because even, there's some singers, especially I've heard some sisters, like their stuff is like kind of bitter and kind of anti-love, but they're just writing the lyrics. They're not writing the music. The musical aspect of it, the musical creativity of coming up with a melody, and a lot of times, and because I've heard other artists say this, when I used to write music, I didn't write music. I cleared my mind, and music came into my mind, and I tried to notate what came into my mind. Whether I wrote it down, because I don't know what it is with the shower. Man, I don't know if it's the relaxation, the heat. I don't know what it is. If you're a musical person or you're a creative person, why music comes into your mind in the shower when you can't you know what I'm saying? You're completely unable to write it down, or best you could do is in today's age to get your phone and hum it into. Other than that, I don't know why that happens, but that used to happen to me. It just start thinking of some music in the shower, and I'm like, oh man, hold up. But it's hilarious. But yeah, I think it was, man, I don't know who it was. It might have been Drake. I don't know who it was. I think Prince said something similar, but yeah, hearing a lot of different musicians, you don't really write the music. You just record the music that's just passing through your brain pretty much. At least that's how it was for me when I was young and I was doing it. I would write raps. But when I was writing music, or I was composing music, many times the music would write itself, and I would just catch pieces of it and try to piece it together. What I caught. That's the best way I can explain it. And whatever I was tapped into at that time, I haven't tapped into in years, and that doesn't happen. No music passes through my brain anymore. So whatever that was, whatever that space in time was, unfortunately, apparently that frequency I shall not experience that anymore. But it's really a wonderful thing to be able to tap into that creativity and latch on to it and express it for people, But it would be something positive for our youth, in my opinion. Brother Crow would say is no positive healing in that, and the corporate R&B. Yeah, no, not the corporate R&B. Like, I'll be honest, and I know we supposed to be talking about the movie, but music is a key theme in the movie. Which is why I haven't changed this picture of this brother and this guitar. Because if you talk to, or you read any reviews, like everyone talks about this one particular scene there's a one particular musical scene that everybody talks about how amazing it is and fantastic it is. And it is excellent. It's very creative. And it's weird because, and I see what people mean. It's a scene where it can go left. Like, if it's not done properly creatively, that scene can just look goofy and be like, what in the world is happening? You know what I'm saying? But because it's done well, then it's brilliant. Like, there is no in between. And I don't know, if Coogler put it in the script, or if it just was a last minute inspiration. I can't. I've seen interviews with him talking about the movie, but I don't remember him talking about that scene. But everybody talks about how phenomenal that scene is. It's a great scene. It's not my favorite scene in the movie. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it. My favorite scene in the movie comes toward the end, and yeah, I have a favorite scene. And those of you all who know me and who think like me, if you've seen the movie, you know what it is. If you haven't seen the movie and you see the movie this week or next week, when it gets to that part, you can be like, oh yeah, this is his favorite part. This was his favorite part. That's all I'm gonna say. Brother Dawood said, ironically, I see the parallel how the hats are taking over black music with the goal of the main bit. Right, exactly, brother. I didn't want to spell it out, but exactly, right? Because we don't like if you look at hip hop as a prime example, when if hip hop doesn't happen in New York, if hip hop starts in LA instead of New York, it probably takes longer for the major corporations to get their hands on it and change the course and things like that. Because there's certain people who they don't have the same populace, because the different youth that got into hip hop or got plugged into the culture, the subculture of hip hop. New York being the melting pot that it is, and with people from the islands, from the Caribbean, people from other people, non-black people, Hispanics, Asians, so forth and so on. Before Brother Tony, all those people being around in New York and being, especially in the Bronx, them being able to tap in, and then Brooklyn, between the Bronx and Brooklyn, you got a lot of non-black people who tap into hip hop early. And of course, when I'm talking about hip hop, I'm not talking about just the music, but I'm talking about the entire youth culture that it was at the time. So I'm talking about the break dancing, the b-boying, the graffiti, the DJing, and of course the MCing. So I'm talking about all the aspects of it. There were a lot of people around and a lot of people who contributed. I don't get into the argument of who started it and this and this and that. We know it was primarily a black cultural phenomenon, but there were other people there near the beginning who contributed, right? Dudes like Crazy Legs contributed to breakdancing, period, end of discussion. We can't argue about it. Dude been breakdancing. I don't know how he seemed like he been breakdancing as long as I've been familiar with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even here to debate that. But the point being is that New York being what it is, being that kind of melting pot area, that attracted a lot of people. And eventually the people that had the most money and the most influence and the most connections with the entertainment industry were the ones that were able to eventually steer it in a different direction than where it was naturally going. And that's why we are where we are. And that is one of the themes of the movie, but it's just not embodied. Those people aren't in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is with that. So, let me just get to, because this is supposed to be a review of the actual movie. Say, what did I like about the movie? Man, I like this sister, the sister that played Annie. It took me a long time. Man, the movie is almost over before I realized that she played in Loki on Disney Plus. So I liked her character. Her character was pivotal. Oh no, brother, you got ripped off. Greetings, assistant poetry. Better late than never. Let me put on. Well, you got ripped off with the $5 super chat. Say, remember Larry Cohen has publicly announced pushing destructive hip hop because he has mouths to feed. Yeah, that was on the Breakfast Club, right, brother? If I had known that we were going to go here, I would find that clip. But yeah, he said, "Hey," he was unapologetic with it too. They asked him a question. I can't remember the exact question, but he's like, "Yeah, man, I ain't worried about that because I got miles of feet." As if this dude don't have a bazillion dollars. And it's interesting because I think it was greetings, Sister Nepataria. I think it was Most Def who talked about a tall Israeli controlling hip hop. And I'm not sure if people knew who he was talking about at the time. This was some years ago. But I mean, he could have been talking realistically. He could have been talking about the Bronfmans as well. Is it Edgar Bronfman? Yeah, I think, but I can't remember what he looked like. But yes, I mean, there's a few people he could have been talking about when he said that, but definitely, as I call him, Liar Cohen. I know his name is Leor. Yes, I'm mispronouncing his name on purpose. But yeah, this guy ended up having a tremendous influence. Him, we've talked about before, Puffy's mentor, Clive Davis, who's been accused. Clive Davis has been accused of almost every disgusting thing you can think of, and it's been untouched. So, I mean, the whole Whitney Houston thing to me is still like, questionable at best. So, man, I'm just sitting around thinking about the Whitney Houston. Anyway, man, she was such a talent, man. Such a waste. Incredible voice, man. It just, our people just be coming to some horrible ends from that industry. Anyway, yeah, let me get to what I liked about it. Man, the positive presentation of African spirituality. Like I said, the sister that played Annie, she was a hoodoo woman. She was key in the movie, and she was also Smokes. That was Smokes' woman. That was his wife. And it was interesting because I heard that there was that was some serious lightning. I heard that there was like some discussion or controversy about her character being his wife, and I'm gonna just say this, man. We forget, because I had uncles, great uncles, and stuff. We forget that there were brothers. That's some serious thunder. So I guess the storm is like right overhead now because that lightning was crazy, and now the thunder is like crazy. But anyway, so if everything goes off, then y'all know what happened. But other than that, we're gonna keep on rocking. But people forget that before this modern era of women all trying to look the same, black men liked all types of women. And I remember seeing thin brothers with a big buxom woman. Oh, you can hear that, brother? No. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that'll be in the final mix. I don't think. I'm not sure the what they call it, this noise dampener, sound dampener, or whatever. I'm not sure if that's available in the base version of StreamYard. And we say sister poetry. She said, now I got to look up the Whitney Houston thing. In that industry, they know how to play before. Yeah, Clive Davis, if I'm not mistaken, they were having a party downstairs while Whitney Houston was deceased upstairs in the hotel. And yeah, so I'm not sure what her situation was with her contracts and things like that. But it was just, oh, okay, I get you. I just refuse to believe that the official story is the official story. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, you can look into that. But yeah, so I liked her character. I liked the presentation of her character. I would have liked to have seen more of a backstory into how she got the knowledge that she got and things like that. But I did like her character. I liked the fact that that the love interest, we have black women. Peace, straight black pride, brother pro-black and based. I don't know why I get tongue-tied every time I gotta say that, but greetings to you, brother. Two of the love interests were definitively black women. And, Ryan Coogler, he has a black wife that is currently pregnant, at least from the pictures I've seen. So he has no problem putting actual black women in his movies. So I appreciated that. The other sister, the one that played Pearline, goodness gracious, she's about to burn the screen down. Man, that was a nice looking sister. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to say no more. Let's say no more. Get in trouble out here. I just say that was a nice looking sister. She was smoking. I ain't gonna lie to you. One of those scenes where she was singing and performing or whatever, I'm like, my. All right, I'm awake now. But yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. She ain't play a good woman, but she played a good looking woman. That's all I'm saying. So y'all will see it. But she wasn't a good woman. Not in that, but so I like that. I like the layers to the movie. I like Smoke. I like Smoke's character, man. Just overall, just his demeanor, the way he carried himself. I just appreciated that. Another thing that was dope too, the way they did it, was they had them dressed right in a way that you could see the differences in their personality. And it was funny because one was dressed basically as an Italian gangster and one was dressed as an Irish gangster. And so that was some interesting symbolism with that. Of course, I already talked about the music. We talked about that for a while. So anybody else that saw it, what else did y'all put in the chat what y'all liked about the movie, or what you didn't like? Because again, we're gonna have the stuff we didn't like part 2, of course. So I'm trying to think. Do I got a picture of that sister that I was talking about in here? Yeah. This picture don't do it no justice. Man, listen. I ain't trying to ramble on and talk about how good this sister looked. But she did look good. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? And Sister Poetry said you felt like it was good and bad sides to the character. Yeah, the characters were 3-dimensional. They were 3-dimensional characters. They felt like people. What's the brother? The big brother Cornbread. He felt like a real person. He felt like somebody you would know. His wife, his motivations were like they were obvious. And oh man, I forgot this scene. What was it? I can't even remember Delroy Lindo's character name, but it was a real powerful scene where they were passing a chain gang, and he talked about a situation that he had encountered, and it made it you got to see why his character was the way he was. So that was a real powerful scene too. I had forgot about that, because you forget, or they don't talk about a lot, other than movies like Life. If you've seen Life, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, which it's sad, but it is one of my favorite movies. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite movies. That scene reminded me of the movie Life, and it's an aspect of history that they don't talk about. People like to talk about enslavement and what happened, or whether or not we should receive reparations for enslavement. But let's be real. Let's talk about. We don't talk about enough about Jim Crow and the attempt to re-enslave via, of course, you got sharecropping, and then this whole thing of locking people up. What was that? What was that documentary called? It was a book and a documentary. I think it was Slavery by Another Name. I remember when I saw that, and they were talking about people getting locked up for loitering and vagrancy and all this, and then you get loaned out to a chain gang or loaned out to somewhere where you basically back picking cotton again or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was just another way of re-enslaving. Yeah, thank you, sister. Delta Slim. I appreciate that because I completely forgot. So just that one scene linked on that entire history. And I'm not gonna lie, like that part, it took me there, and you got to see that aspect of Delroy Lindo's character where you like, man, why they trying to get this dude and what he gonna do? And you looking at his condition and this and that, and then he talks about that trauma, and you like, oh, okay, never mind. You know what I'm saying? You're like, nah, I understand. And so we don't get to see the depth of black people in movies, the depth of characters of black people in movies, excuse me. And unless it's a black movie, even when it's a black movie sometimes. But I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen a lot of black movies. Like, I know there are a lot of what would have been in my day straight to video black movies that are out and around, and you see them on like stuff like Amazon and some of these other services. And when I watch those movies, I'm just like, I know this is people's lived experiences, but they're so stereotypical. It's like, I don't want to watch no hood movies, man. I know what a hood is. I can find it. I ain't that far from it. It's around the corner. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to watch that. You know what I'm saying? I can find that whenever I want to. So seeing something like this where it taps into the history and shows a different side of our people, even though I'm not gonna lie, they brought some of the 21st century degeneracy back to 1930. That part I did not like, but yeah. So anyway, I don't have that many slides, but what didn't I like about the movie? I hated the unnecessary, gratuitous, and ahistorical usage of the N-word by the black guys. But brother, you got ripped off. He alerted me to that before I saw the movie. It was in there, and it was unnecessary. Some of it was played for laughs. Of course, I don't think us calling ourselves the N-word is ever funny. I hear it too much. Guys, send the music. You talk to people. As soon as they get excited, start N-wording you to death. And that not even intentionally to be disrespectful. It's just so much a part of people's mind. Anybody that's under 40, every musical song, well, not every musical song, but seemingly every piece of music that they've been exposed to says it incessantly. So you can't even be mad at them, because you gotta actually break down the whole science of it. And you almost giving a lecture. It's just like, and they still, half the time they still look at you like, like you speaking a foreign language or something. You just like, never mind, brother. Never mind. Don't even worry about it, man. Just understand, I don't really appreciate that. But also, but I think I spoke on this little too much sexuality. Because it kind of just comes at you like, bam. You know what I'm saying? It's just like no preparation. Just like two people see each other and they like, all right, let's get it on over here in this corner real quick. You just like, hey, wait a minute, what's happening? So maybe it's just me, maybe being so used to watching movies where people aren't, getting down like that. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all thought. And like I said, man, I would have loved some more of Annie's character, man. Just her backstory and stuff. I liked that character. And I don't even know if I talked about this or I went away from it, but anyway, back to her character. There was a lot of discussion. I got a picture of her, right? Yeah, there was a lot of discussion online that I saw about whether or not people were saying they thought at first that she was his mother, even though her and Michael B. Jordan in real life are probably the same age. And it was interesting because I'm thinking to myself, a full-figured, dark-skinned woman playing a love interest is so rare that people can't even, they thinking she Oprah Winfrey or something. you know what I'm saying? And I'm just, I did talk about it a little bit, but there was a time, and I think that time kind of still exists, at least amongst regular brothers, like, not Hollywood and rappers and all that. But I think amongst regular brothers, man, there's still a thing of black men liking different physical types of women. Like, that was a thing. Like, I remember saying, as long as you and your brothers that you tight with don't like the same type of women, unless it's about money, you'll never have conflict. Because those are only two things that cause conflict. You'll have disagreement. You can have disagreement about a lot of stuff. You can have an argument about sports. So, you know what I'm saying? Something innocuous and insignificant. But you'll never have conflict unless you like the same type of woman. Because if you like the same type of woman, eventually you're going to come across that one woman that is your ideal. Both of your ideals, or a group of your ideals, and then a whole mess comes into it. What you saying, sister? You don't see, what don't you see? Elaborate on that. You said you don't see it. Are you saying that you don't see brothers liking different types of women? I mean, I guess it depends. I guess it depends on where you are. Like, I've seen more as I've gone out and been in different places. I've seen more young brothers with black women and different types of black women than I've seen for a while. So I don't know. Like, maybe I just wasn't in the right places. I wasn't seeing it at all. Because for a while I was seeing young brothers with a lot of non-black women, like Hispanic and European, here in DC. To the point I was like, oh man, we kind of in trouble here. But lately I've seen more and more black couples, brothers, dark-skinned sisters, brothers with light-skinned sisters, brothers with brown-skinned sisters, different body types or whatever. Although for the really young brothers, most of the women that they're into see, actually what's interesting, the young brothers, the really young brothers, like I'm talking about high school, college age, that I've seen, they mostly seem to be into slimmer women. So I don't know, but that's how it was back in the day. So I don't know, but I remember growing up and seeing my uncles and stuff. They definitely, man, they bring all types of different looking women over my grandmother's household to the cookout, picnic, whatever. So, brother, that's an interesting thing, man. You said that. That's kind of an ebb and flow thing with me. Like, sometimes, like when I was young, literally the only women that liked me were dark-skinned sisters when I was growing up, for the most part. To the point where I started looking at myself like, I ain't that light at me. And then I started attracting like really light-skinned sisters, where you start including mixed women. So in different parts of my life, man, the pendulum as far as women that I've attracted is swung completely from both ends. So I just accept, I take it as it comes. I accept, whoever is interested, within reason, because I've also attracted a large number of non-black women, and it's just like, of all the black dudes, You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that you, I'm the one that you sitting up in my face. You really don't know who I am, do you? Like, I've done a really good job pretending to be a regular black guy, apparently. You know, so yeah, man. But yeah, I think that's what got me out of trying of liking a particular complexion of black woman, because anytime I fell into that particular group of black women never liked me at that time, so it's like whatever. And then you meet, you know, like what you did, you meet as a man, you can meet a woman that will change the right or wrong woman can change your type. At least, it's happened to me before. Like, you meet a woman who ain't really necessarily your type, and then because of her, you find yourself gravitating to that type, and it takes you a while to realize. You're like, man, that you just like, that girl really did change my type. Like, I'm really this type of woman I find most attractive now, and do some introspection and you realize who it is. Brother Dawu says, I like how they layered the enemy's presence. Let's see. With the folks in the beginning, middle, and end, attack of quote unquote real monsters. Depictions of real constant threats to black life. Right. Yeah, definitely, brother. That was a theme. And another theme too was it falls within that what you just expressed. The attack on attempted sovereignty, like ultimately what Smoke and Stack were trying to do, was build something for black people. And there was the dynamic of how much do you have to invest and possibly lose to build something for black people, because there was a scene where they were counting up the money and they were debating the money because the people weren't being their clientele, which was black people. The black people weren't being paid properly, so therefore they couldn't pay them properly. So then now they are debating, how are we gonna run this business? So that was a theme in the movie, and it's a reality in black business. You know what I'm saying? So that was an aspect that they talked about that I had forgot about until the brother mentioned it. And Sister Naftaria said it seems as if they're brothers that seem to gravitate to what they call the exoticals, ambiguous looking women or unambiguous women. Well, I mean, yeah, because that's what is promoted. Like, you look at a lot of these celebrities, and Cat Williams talked about it. A lot of these celebrities have some really weird looking women, wives, ex-wives, baby mamas. I was looking at some of what's her name? Dion, Primetime's ex-wives, and a couple of those women just weird looking. They not really attractive. Eddie Murphy's ex-wife, I always thought she was weird looking. She looked kind of mannish in the face, respectfully. You know what I'm saying? But I never thought she was attractive. But maybe that's just me. I didn't get it. You got a boatload of money, and I understand you want. People want what they want when they get that amount of money, but that was never impressive. I'm not saying that there are no attractive light-skinned women or nothing like that, because there are. But Eddie Murphy's wife, you say she's biracial. I didn't know if she was or not. I just know she's hard looking in the face to me. Just like, I would question her origin, if I saw her. Anyway, let me welcome you all to the center. live. I'm your host, DC Radical One. You can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at dc_radical_one, on OTW2, which is a black-owned platform, at DC Radical One. And you can donate via Cash App if you enjoying this content. $ DC Radical One, and you can email me at dc.radical_one at protonmail.com. So that was, oh, I forgot. I'm just rambling on. I forgot I had already did what I liked. And did I finish what I didn't like? I think I finished that because it wasn't that much, Talked about Annie's character. Yeah, okay. All right, brother, you got ripped off. I just put this in here for you. All I'm gonna say is you'll like this. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. What y'all talking about? Oh, that was Sister Fonda. I mean, you know what? Sister Fonda, I thought, brother, you got ripped off had said that. Yeah, she rough looking. No, I didn't know she had no reality show. I'm Eddie Murphy's wife. He or ex or whatever. He can have her. I think he got a new white wife. He can have her. He can have all that. Me and Eddie Murphy, we could be cool, but I ain't gonna fight him for none of his money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Might ask him for some bread, but I'd never fight him for none of his women. At all. You have all that. I'm trying to think who else got money in it. Excuse me for going off on a tangent. Man, have you ever seen some of Shannon Sharp's latest accusers? Whew. Man, he going out like Bill Cosby with some of those people. Goodness gracious. Maybe they look different back in the day because everybody don't age well, but one of them I saw claimed he did some despicable stuff. I'm like, you're a former NFL player. Come on now. I'm just saying, come on now. Got to do better than that. Come on. Oof. You know what I mean? Some rough looking accusers out here. I'm just saying, I get plenty of money. Be honest, I get plenty of money and they try to bring me down. Them women gonna be fine. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna be accused of something, I want to be accused by women where brothers look and be like, yeah, I might have fell for that one too. You know what I'm saying? I want to be accused by somebody with brothers are like, what is that? That's what I was like, That's like when that woman claimed Bill Cosby did it, whatever. I was like, Really? I don't know. Come on, Bill, going outside on that one. But hey, man. But Bill Cosby was back there in the Playboy Mansion doing who knows what. So, hey, he learned it from them folks. But anyway, I digress. Let me get to the last line. Sister Poetry said she loved that scene. Warmed her heart. Yeah, best scene in the movie from what I seen. Really cool. You say some of Shaq's exes. I don't even I haven't clocked Shaq's exes, so I just know Shawnee. Other than that, I don't know. Brother Dawood will say, hey man, can't learn from OJ is only 20 years ago. Apparently not, man. Apparently not. And in this environment, and I know I'm all in another show, so that's why I'm showing Brother Ryan Coogler and his wife. It's funny because in this picture he looked like he had more weight than any other picture, and she's currently pregnant, so makes it look like he's, in tune with the pregnancy, gaining weight along with her. That's why I can put it up. I just thought it was funny when I saw it. But yeah, man, final verdict. Is it worth seeing? Yes, definitely. It gives us a multi-layered, enjoyable, and relatable film that celebrates Black American history and culture. He does this while acknowledging the hardships and pain of being Black in America. He also has some valuable lessons for Black people that we should remember after watching the film. So, man, I congratulate the brother. I recommend that you all, spend your $12 to $15, I guess, depending on where you are. You know, if you want to dip off and get the matinee for $8 or whatever that is, that's too. Because I want this movie to be successful. One, because I want, not that it will, but hopefully it'll open it up for other black directors who aren't afraid to show black men and black women interacting. Black women who are identifiably black. So I'm hoping for more of that. Sister, you said you got a free ticket, but you want to go pay to see it again. Yeah, if you got it like that. I mean, if you don't have it like that, I'm saying, believe me, I understand. But like I said, somebody paid for my ticket, man, and I thank them kindly, But it's worth supporting. Is it a perfect movie? No, because like I said, to me, if you take out the gratuitous N-wording, I can live with the sensuality, because I think that was also a theme of the movie and a theme of a lot of vampire movies. And it's gonna sound weird because I'm talking about, hey, it's too much sensuality in the movie. But to be completely honest, it's gonna sound weird. The scene with, I wouldn't have minded, as long as it's not vulgar, I would not have minded a more loving, sensual scene between Annie and Smoke. I would not have minded that. I mean, because we already got it in the film, but I would not have minded seeing that type of brother really heal that sister. And them healed each other, because they, if you watch the movie, you'll see that there is some pain there, not caused by either one of them. And when you think about the situation, it's probably why they're not together, why he had to go away. But I really would like to have seen them have a moment of being together and really heal each other. They had a moment, but I'm talking about like something like not even passionate in the sense of how black people portray passion, as opposed to how Europeans display passion. So I'm trying to think of a scene. If you think of a scene like maybe, what was that movie? Jason's Lyric. Like, what's her name? Will Smith's wife, when she was Jada Pinkett and Alan, what's his name? Alan Payne. Y'all remember that scene? Now, of course, I ain't seen that movie in 100 years, so maybe in my mind I've made it more romantic than it was. But something similar to that, right? Can't really think of it. Anybody else got any other scenes? But y'all get the point of what I'm saying. But yeah, so of all the movies that and things that have come out in TV shows, because I know people would tell me about shows and they like, man, you gotta see Black Mirror, or you gotta see what's the other show that everybody was talking about? That's another show that everybody was talking about. You gotta see a show that had black people in it. I don't think it was a black show. I mean, if you're gonna support those things, this is worth supporting. This is worth supporting with your money, because, and then too, I forgot, man, he made a deal to get Sister never got joked. He got a deal. He made a deal to get his ownership of the movie after 25 years. So, man, y'all know me as far as an artist getting ownership. I'm big on that. Like, literally, being completely honest, I had a management contract and a record contract set in front of me years ago. And when it got to that part and I started looking at it and started deciphering words in my mind, because if you ever seen one of them contracts of legalese, have you looking cross-eyed. The idea of someone else owning my work ultimately was like, and I think I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm good on that. Hey, this something I want? Yeah, but I don't want it as much at the age that the opportunity was in front of me as I did before. And it's funny because I never knew it, but another a brother that I knew, the brother that's in Dead Prez, he was in high school and turned down a contract, which because just the image that they wanted him to portray, and it's just totally different from who he was. Like, it was similar to, if you ever seen if you saw the Wu-Tang TV show, like, it was similar to how they did the RZA. Like, they wanted to do the same thing to the brother from Dead Prez, Stick, the light-skinned brother. He told us the story years ago. He's like, yeah, man, they want me to be like, Big Daddy Kane, Loverboy, Big Daddy Kane, or whatever. He's like, nah, I told him I'm good. Then a couple of years later, you made it in the industry anyway. So look at that, brother. He said, you can stand on your nerdist and say publicly you enjoy Attack on Titan anime. That's the one you told me about that I was watching for a while. Yeah, it was alright. It wasn't no Dragon Ball, but it was alright. But nah, this is definitely worth watching. This is, it's hard to compare movies to what's name, but yeah, I enjoyed this as much or more as I did Wu-Tang show, which I like, or the parts of the Bumpy Johnson show that I watched. Once they started getting close to the time where Malcolm got taken out, I couldn't watch that part of Bumpy Johnson show. But up until that, man, I was enjoying that. So, any other questions or comments, or ideas, or subjects y'all want to discuss? Yeah, Godfather Harlem, thank you, brother. Y'all, y'all let me know. But like I said, I really hope that this opens up more opportunities, not just for Ryan Coogler, because he has, from my understanding, and I don't even think, did I bring that article up? I do got it. He's made enough money. Let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, maybe not. I won't mess with it, because when you messing with the free StreamYard, you don't want to try to get too fancy to get the switching between stuff. You shut your whole thing down. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, from my understanding, after 3 weeks, he made the budget and the marketing and all that. So the final budget, he's in the movie, has made money now. So congratulations to that, brother. So everything else is gravy. So that's why I tell people, man, go ahead and see it. Go ahead and see it now. Go ahead and see it again. Because the better the movie does, the more he'll be able to command, and maybe he can cut it down. I think Sister Vanessa said, maybe he can cut it down to his next one, get ownership in, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, or whatever, and can do it like that. And man, maybe he can get Michael B. Jordan a black woman. Michael B. Jordan get a black woman, man. He'll be one of my favorite actors, because he definitely showed his range and his talent in this film. I always thought he was a solid actor. I never thought he was like phenomenal. Personally think that the brother that was in Creed with him, I think he's actually a better actor overall. I don't know, man. The way Michael B. Jordan was in this film, you know, he's on that level. And both of them, Brother Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, said that Chadwick Boseman was an inspiration for them in this film. So his legacy, as long as Coogler is doing his thing and Michael B. Jordan is doing his thing, that brother's legacy will continue on. So, that's always, when you think about it, what happened with him, that's always heartbreaking, because he was really talented. And could have had a great sequel to Black Panther instead of whatever we got, because I still haven't seen that movie. I guess eventually I'll sit down and watch it, but I don't know. So anyway, man, unless plans change, tomorrow at 8, we're gonna look at and we'll discuss this. Can this, what happened on April 30th, be something more than just a moment in time? Oh, brother, you said before Jonathan Majors got in trouble, he was supposed to be in this? I didn't know that. Okay, I hadn't heard that at all. Where'd you hear that at? I hadn't heard anybody mention that. That would have been interesting, but things worked out for Michael B. Jordan, because that allowed him to extend his range. And also, while I'm here, let me put the referral link back in the chat. Shout out to StreamYard. If you sign up for them, you get a discount and I get a discount. And believe you me, I need all the discounts I can get. Be completely honest with you. So if anybody got any more questions or any ideas for future shows, like I said, we'll talk about the April 30th Ibrahim Traore movement. I found out, and I got to really dig into it. I don't know if I talked about it or not, but I found out that the general who made that statement, that the U.S. they've been more active than I thought, and he's been spearheading it since the beginning. So he's way more of a villain than I even thought. I just thought he was just and I don't know why I thought this. Because he's black. That's why. Never mind. That's why I thought this. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was speaking out of ignorance and out of just patriotism of the U.S. is always right, and anybody that don't toe the line for the U.S. is wrong, and is way more malicious. His intent is way more malicious than I gave him blame for, and that's what I found out. So I'm gonna try to put that info together and get that out tomorrow. And like I said, Thursday is a possible. Excuse me, I'm 50-50 on that. But whether or not I can do an SBL talk, I know I haven't done one in a while. Like I said, right now I got a little bit of time, but not a lot. So that's what we're looking like. And I do got a couple of short videos, but I'm not gonna lie, y'all don't seem to like short videos. I got a couple of short video ideas, but no one ever watches them. Right? Y'all didn't watch the Supreme Court video. Did that live. I mean, guerrilla journalism at its best, and not gonna lie, I was disappointed on the views on that. So you get a chance, go back and watch that. It's 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? To see what's going on at the Supreme Court. And I need to look into this case of the brother. Hey, brother, you got ripped off. Put the name of the brother in the chat. The brother, his son was unalived by the police, which I haven't even heard the circumstances of what happened with that. But he decided that What he was not going to do, he wasn't going to call Attorney Crump, and he was not going to go negotiate blood money for the assassination of his child. He was just going to act out the Bible. You know, that's the decision he made. You know, everybody believes in the Bible till you start talking about an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life. Just please, you know, and once that discussion comes up, nobody believes in the Bible no more. But he just was not going to take losing his child lightly, and he decided that he was going to take action, and he didn't care about the consequences. And when he was in the courtroom, when they had all these people sitting up there trying to look hard, he looked at them all in their face and said, none of y'all really want no smoke with me one-on-one, so there ain't no need for you to even be standing there looking hard. So that, I mean, this brother's a G, real G. And I still haven't seen nobody put the name in the chat. I think it Rodney or Robert Hinton. Man, I can't. Y'all help me out. But yeah, he and salute to that brother. And it is what it is. But salute to that brother, just saying, I can't. I'm just not going out like that. Not going out like no sucker. I'm not going to wait for the ambulance chasers and the lawyers and the Black Lives Matter people to come here and have me up here spitting and slobbering and crying and calling on the Lord and like, why in the world? And he like, nah, man, we're not having none of that. And I finally saw a picture of his son. His son looks so much like him, and I could see why he like, nah, I'm not. No, sir. No. This is not. We are not doing the usual song and dance, and whatever the consequences are of that, and then I have to take them. So I don't know. I don't have any information on his legal situation as far as his representation, or like I just heard about the case. I guess it just happened over the weekend. I just heard about it like yesterday. But I'm gonna look into that. I'll probably do a radical report on that, but y'all already got. Y'all know how I feel. You say this happened in Cincinnati. Okay, brother. Well, when we started talking about XYZ place has a long history of racism, I just started thinking about Malcolm X. Malcolm X saying, as long as you south of the Canadian border, you in the South. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you're in the Canadian border, you're in the South. And I don't even, I don't know what type of plea he's going to make. I mean, hey, to me, it's temporary insanity. You overcome by grief. Hey, maybe you can get an expert to say that the model of vehicle you had has problems with a braking system. You know what I mean? Think about it. When you got money, man, you can pay experts say all types of stuff. So I'll look into that and I'll talk about that. Also, I forgot this month, unless something's changed, the Sade Robinson case is happening in Milwaukee. Remember, I did a video on that. Sade Robinson, the 19-year-old sister who unfortunately went out on a date with some random European. How they met, I guess they met online or whatever the case may be, and he brutally unalived her in the most heinous fashion. So that case is coming. It should be ongoing now. Like, it should be adjudicated like as we speak. Because I remember them saying May. No, so it may be later this month, but I'll look into that. And you saying, will the Sade Robinson case be televised? I don't know, sister. If that's what you're asking, I haven't looked that deep into it, because when I was trying to Like when you try to, it was weird when you try to find information for these cases, unless you go directly to the website for the state and you like dig into that stuff. The major media don't really give updates like that unless they see the person in court and there's an actual proceeding, like a lawyer makes some type of they put in some type of information or whatever. I forgot what you call it legalese wise, but y'all know what I'm saying. You said the cops that unalived Tyree Nichols in Memphis is being televised online. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So it's possible. I guess it's possible. I'll look into it, and if I find out something, I'll let you all know. So I'll let you all know with that those two cases, the Sade Robinson case and this case where this brother that situation just happened. We will see. We'll look into that and we'll discuss that one of these days. Not since that brother's case you say it was Cincinnati brother, since that case is just beginning. It's just beginning. I just say that. I don't even know what else to say. But really, the mentality he seemed to have, it's like he did what he had to do, so he ain't even worried about it. He don't even seem. But it would be good for the community to come together and try to support the brother as best we can, because this situation with the European female and calling the little boy N-word or whatever. I saw something where that woman has raised like over $100,000, and I'm like, for what? She's the one in the wrong. Like, didn't nothing happen to her? Like nobody assaulted her or anything. I was like, man, like y'all really. I was like, yeah, y'all people really just, your hatred of black people is just crazy. Like, it's just insane. It's like, no, Rodney King, we cannot get along. Not when you see stuff like this. Now, who knows? Maybe it could be a few hats and they putting in 20 G's a piece to boost it up and make it look like it's a boatload of Urugu. I don't know. But all I know is when I see these people who are blatantly in the wrong, completely and totally anti-black, and they be getting bread, and I'll be like, what is happening right now? So I'm just be honest, man. I know they ain't gonna do it, but our celebrities and athletes and stuff, they ain't got to advertise it. But when situations pop off and we defending ourselves, like Carmelo Anthony or this situation with the brother or whatever, man, y'all need to be going to the back door, dropping that bag off, man. Stop playing. Just go. Minister Farrakhan used to say, man, just drop the check off at the back door, man. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying give it to me. I'm saying those people like Carmelo Anthony, his family they need a new house, new somewhere to live, or come on, man. People like Shaq, you up there, you talking about the bread you got and the stuff you do for the community. Man, just go ahead and drop off 5 G's. 5 G's is nothing. Michael Jordan, then go ahead and drop off 15 racks. Like, that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? I think Lamar Jackson just got like $240 million contract or something. Maybe it's not that big, but it is something. Like his contract was nice. Hey man, go ahead and drop off 10 racks, man. You know, you ain't gonna miss it. You ain't gonna miss them 10 racks. Not if you invest in solidly. And if you got bread like that, I suggest investing in gold. like gold is shooting through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And they're far from being a financial guru, but gold always holds its money. That's all I'm saying. And brother, you got ripped off says the brother Otho Wallace he needs 30K. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we got so many situations, and it's not like we don't have people with no bread, but we don't come through for our own. Like, we got a lot of people that don't have no bread. Let's be clear, but we got people that got bread. Yeah, man. Hey, man. Some people are more racially loyal than others, and unfortunately, a lot of our people with money are not that racially loyal. So, with that, man, now that I've veered off course into a whole nother discussion, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to close this out tonight. So I thank you all for coming through. Man, don't forget to like and share. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Again, I'm your host, DC Radical One. This is The Center. You can follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1, on Twitter at DC_Radical_ONE, on OTWTube at DC Radical One. And you can donate via Cashapp, $DC Radical One. And the email is DC.Radical_1 at protonmail.com. So with that, brothers and sisters, and I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for subscribing. I thank you all who have supported financially. The different brothers and sisters have supported financially via the super chats. Also, I forgot to say, there is such a thing as super thanks. So if you watch one of the short form videos, you actually can donate via super thanks there. And some of you all have just bypassed the whole YouTube thing and just sent me stuff directly. I greatly appreciate that as well. So with that, brothers and sisters, I say BB for ODA and straight black pride.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at DC.Radical1. On Twitter, we're at DC_Radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.